Hey, U.S. history students, hopefully you can hear this. Actually, I don't even have my headphones in, but we'll try it without it. Hopefully it'll work. Hope you're doing well. I miss you. Haven't seen you in a while. It's getting longer and longer. But I do miss everybody. Hope you're all doing well. I see you engaging on Odysseyware. A shout out to a lot of you who are continuing to do that. You know, I could go around the room just think, but all of you are engaging, so keep it up. You're going to get, we have a grading system now, and I want to give a lot of passing with distinction, okay? So let's do it, you know, and let's make it happen, okay? I'm just going to go over some review stuff today to help you with this next chapter. Some of you are already up to the quiz on the 1950s. Like I think I saw Amanda, some other people too are already there. Take your time though, get some good grades on these, okay? And it'll help you. We'll go from there. So that's all I'm going to say. And what I want to do now is by the way, if you find spoons in your backpacks at this point, or you know, like I did on my property, spoons in my bushes, that's you know, that's I would be a little worried about that. That's all I'm going to say. It's a little bit much, but what I want to do is kind of just review some of the big lessons and takeaways that we have from the whole section. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. I'm going to go through some review with you, so I'll explain it so it'll help you with your reading for those of you who struggle with that. Let's see if I can find it here. Let's see. There we go. Okay, I'm going to move myself down over here. Whoops. Than I want to be. Let's see. Let's get down here. There we go. Okay, here we go. Let's look at, let's review. All right. America's attempt at constructing nuclear weapons fell near the auspices of the Manhattan Project. So remember that we're building nuclear weapons, and we were the only ones in 1945 to have the technology. Pretty scary to the rest of the world because it gave us a lot of power, right? But as we go down here, the chief physicist was a guy named Oppenheimer. Okay, I went to a debate one time in college where they said, was Oppenheimer a great scientist, or was he a mad scientist? And because of the what he invented. So they tested out some different things. We had a race, a nuclear race, okay, between countries to see who could build more bombs, which is scary. By 1968, you had Great Britain, France, China, okay, had also, of course, with the Russians, had all those countries were now nuclear capable. And so this one word that you're going to read in this section is called proliferation. And all that means is an expansion of nuclear power, okay? So when you have a non-proliferation treaty, that means that you're agreeing to not build more bombs. So, you know, some of you may ask, well, how do you know you can trust each other? Yeah, that's kind of the problem, right? Yeah, I don't have any bombs, I promise, I haven't made any. Unless you have spies and you have people in the country all the time, you're gonna have to take people's words for it, which, you know, may only make you feel so good, okay? Now, remember, Russia and us, the Cold War is us against them indirectly in other parts of the world, trying to get friends on our side, trying to get governments to kind of go with our way of life, okay? Now, this word here looks like a mess, doesn't it? Like, what the heck is that? And I don't even know if it's in your vocabulary. It should be. It's a French word. It means coup d'etat. Actually, it doesn't mean that's how you say that. It's probably not even how you say it, but it's coup d'etat. That's how I learned how to say it. And that's a overthrow of a government. Sometimes they just say coup for short. And it's C-O-U-P-S-K-D, and then you have some accents there, coup d'etat. And what it means, now the CIA is the Central Intelligence Agency. That's a secret it's an organization in our country that was put together to kind of get involved in countries outside of our country internationally to get things done. So a coup d'etat was orchestrated by the CIA, and we overthrew governments in Iran and Guatemala. So you might say, why would we do that? Well, part of it is we were so worried about the influence of communism and anti-American governments that we secretly worked for their overthrow. Okay, the pro-Western government in Iran was eventually overthrown in 1979. Now, if you watch the movie Argo, extra credit if you watch it and you give me some notes and tell me what you thought of it, okay, in your own words. Argo was the story of that overthrow in 1979. I was a kid and I remember it. It was crazy. It's a good movie. You'd like it. But the Shah, we were, actually it's not about the Shah per se, but we were protecting him. And he was very unpopular in Iran, and they took American hostages and weren't going to release him. And I remember that as a kid, just tuning into TV every day to see what was going to happen. So we had that happen in the 1950s. The 1956 Suez Crisis resulted from Great Britain, France, and Israel attacking Egypt to gain control of the Suez Canal. Now, why would they do that? Well, remember that Egypt was a English colony. A canal, the Suez Canal, is a major area for trade, where you can, make a lot of money or lose a lot of money depending upon what happens in the canal. And Egypt had been kind of kissing up to the Soviet Union. And eventually the Soviets threatened to end this fight, to enter it on Egypt's side, but that would have created a world war, potentially a world war. So the UN intervened and set up a permanent peacekeeping force there and kind of brought the situation under control. But it scared people because they said, wow, like a fight over a canal could almost become a world war. What's next? And that was good. In the same year, Hungary attempted to get out from under Soviet control and became a neutral nation. Student unrest led to other riots. Government leaders stepped down in favor of Imre Nagy, who tried to rid the nation of the communist influence. Soviet Union came in hard, and you can watch video footage of this, but they came in and just brutalized the Hungarians and took power over. On a side note, a friend of a friend that I talked to a few years ago was a member of the Hungarian army when the Soviets left Hungary, when they were no longer communists in the 1990s, a few years before you were born. And what the communists did on their way out was they took their bayonets and started to poke holes in the gas tanks of any truck or any military vehicle that they had there to drain the gas out, so the Hungarians couldn't even use the gasoline that was left behind. So that's the kind of relationship that they had there. We also had Dwight Eisenhower become president. He's a military hero. Remember we talked about that? The military generals tend to be heroes, and so they tend to get elected president at this time. He graduated from West Point. Torrington High School graduate Cam Ceruto, who played baseball for me 3 years ago now, is at West Point. And it's, I don't know, an hour and a half to 2 hours from here, not far. But Eisenhower was the supreme Allied commander in Europe during World War II, so he was famous, he was heroic. And then he became the supreme commander of NATO forces after the war. Now, NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, essentially a bunch of countries that got together to protect each other from communism. Since communism is no longer the threat that it was, President Trump actually, I believe he removed us from NATO, if I'm not mistaken, because of us paying so much money and things like that. So that's still around and still an issue. As president, Eisenhower's foreign policy decisions and influence include he ended the Korean War, so Truman was involved in the Korean War, ended up basically a stalemate, nothing changed. To this day, North and South Korea is divided. Kim Jong-un, the rumor is that he's very ill. Some thought he was dead. President Trump seems to know what nobody else does. It's like secret information. But we had all of these things. We had sending American troops to back the pro-Western Lebanese government in 1958. Anywhere that there was turmoil at this time, we were worried that we were going to lose a friend. Okay, or a government that was sympathetic to us. So we would send troops there, trying to subvert the Soviet influence there. Okay. My English language learners, I hope that I'm not going too fast, and I know this is a challenge. But if you have questions, please email me, ask me. I'd be happy to talk to you. If you want to meet up in a Zoom meeting, I can explain things to you. Anything like that, okay? Because I know this is a challenge. And for those of you who are English speakers and are learning a new language, you don't have it as hard as people learning the English language from another country. It's one of the hardest languages in the world to learn, is the English language. So I give you guys a lot of credit during this time. It's not easy as it is in class, and now you're in your homes trying to figure all this out. So keep up the good work, okay? Suffering a public relations nightmare after Gary Powers crashed his U-2 spy plane inside the Soviet Union. Yeah, it's kind of bad when you get caught spying, right? Spoons. So it's bad when you get caught spying. And we always said that we were the good guys, right? And the Soviets were the bad guys. Well, the U-2 plane, when it kind of was caught, you know, that's going to be bad news, because now we were spying as well, okay? So the group, the music group U2, there you go, okay? So a U2 was a spy plane. And then we got involved in a space race with the Soviet Union. Who's going to build the first, who's going to go around the Earth? Who's going to go to the moon? It was another competition we got in with the Soviet Union, okay? And so we were trying to beat them in every way that we possibly could to show that our system of government was better than theirs. The domestic issues, now domestic, that word means not outside of our country. Right now, the COVID-19 virus is both a domestic and a foreign policy issue, because it's happening all over the world and it impacts our interactions with each other. So civil rights legislation and desegregation of public schools happened. You look at our period 5 class, and we have a lot of different, actually, we went around the room. Remember how many different countries we had in our room represented? It was huge. It was like, I don't know, 11 or 12 or something like that. It was nuts. And the idea here that desegregation allowed primarily African-American and white races to go to school together. Well, I think it allowed all of us to go together and open that up. There was a creation of an interstate highway system. What that means is that you, if you wanted to, could drive from New York to California, okay? Some New Yorkers, people in New York, some of you that have relatives in New York may want to do that, actually, given the number of cases of COVID we have there. But the travel, okay, the interstate highway system made it possible, and the roads and the bridges are actually set up so that you could carry missiles if you needed to, which is kind of scary to think about. But that's what Eisenhower, you know, had in mind when this was created, to keep us safe, okay? McCarthyism and the Red Scare, that was accusing people of communism. So if you thought that somebody might be a communist, then you could accuse them. For instance, if Angie went to a meeting of some of her friends and, I don't know, let's say that Abdel found out that a couple of people at that meeting were communists, he might slip and let people know that Angie might be a communist. And before you know it, her career's over. She can't get a job. Everybody thinks she's a communist. And maybe she's not a communist at all. Abdel's not a communist at all. But Muhammad, who knows? Okay, so that's the kind of paranoia that was actually Ed. Ed wore, remember he had that red sweatshirt on? And I brought it up in class. Yeah, I think it was Ed. And Ed's probably the communist. But they, that's the type of stuff that went on, you know, the Red Scare it was called. We altered the Pledge of Allegiance in the US currency. So on your money, it says, "In God we trust." In the pledge, it says, "One nation under God," because in communism, they're atheists. They don't believe in God. So that's what happened. Anyways, McCarthy ruined a lot of people's lives, and ended up basically after a while, because you're just accusing people and you don't have any proof. So he was kind of really discredited. And the Soviet Union became the world's first country to launch a satellite into orbit, the Sputnik, or in the Russian accent, it goes Sputnik. So that's kind of what they did. Now, post-America, so we saw an end to the Korean War, and then we saw famous actors. Remember, television has become, I really wish we were together, because I really love this unit from the 50s and 60s about television. Maybe I'm going to put some videos up to kind of help you. But movies like Rebel Without a Cause, White Christmas, Ben-Hur, South Pacific, and The King and I were all movies that were very popular. I know Ben-Hur, The King and I, and Rebel Without a Cause. I think I've seen all of those. White Christmas is still shown every year. I think Bing Crosby's in that. But they were kind of made into color pictures too. You had actors like Red Skelton and Jack Benny and Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy. I would argue is probably the most popular television show in history in terms of the number of people who watched it and knew about it, like a common show. The Simpsons is the longest running American television show, but I would argue that the I Love Lucy show was the in the history of American television, number one. J.R. Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, was around in this decade. Lord of the Flies, everybody's in the Lords for some reason. The Old Man and the Sea, Ernest Hemingway, from whom the bell tolls. C.S. Lewis, one of my personal favorites. Leon Uris, and then Charlotte's Web, which I always cried when I was a kid every year. And then we had music. Okay, now this is another thing I loved, and maybe I'll post some music each day because I love 50s music. I still play it on guitar. Okay, actually, I didn't plan on doing this. Hope you can hear me. A 50s progression chord. A lot of the songs basically follow the same pattern. So they would go like. So that is I think it's a 1-6-4-5 progression it's called. And a lot of songs like, I don't know if you know any of these are old songs, but like Teenager in Love, they might go that way, if you know that song. You may not know that song at all, but I know that last year, or actually this year, I played it, or I started singing it at one point. It was Teenager in Love, and a lot of the students knew it. So I don't know if you do, but that chord progression was Earth Angel, Teenager in Love, just a ton of Donna by Richie Valens. Okay, a ton of Dream by the Everly Brothers. So a ton of songs kind of followed that. And here are some artists that were popular in that time: Elvis Presley, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, The Platters, Jerry Lewis, Fats Domino, television. Okay, we had Fender guitars. The hula hoop was invented in the 50s. Velcro, the television remote. Okay, many people had bomb shelters that they would kind of build for their home in case nuclear war happened. Okay, I think that's it for now. But that is a lot of what happens throughout the 50s, okay? But anyways, if you have any questions, I know I went through that kind of fast, let me know. I am going to be popping up some extra credit stuff because you guys have been good. I want to see some honors with distinction, okay? And I think that's it for now. If you need anything, please email me. And take care of yourselves, stay healthy, socially distanced, and I'll talk to you again soon. I promise. I just have to figure out how to exit from this. Let's see. Oh, I know what I'm doing. Share. Okay, now I'm really going. I'll see you later.